I'm Honey, and today I am going to be working with you guys on something that I get a lot of questions on. 25%, I would say, of my custom design code questions are this, so hopefully you guys find it helpful. I'm going to show you the step-by-step process that I use to get a color palette. Now, there are several different ways I use to get color palettes. I'm going to show you all of them. So it's going to be a step-by-step process. I'm going to do it a few different ways, and hopefully by the end of this video, you have found a way that's comfortable for you. So let's get right into this. If this is something that you like or find helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button. Maybe subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I really appreciate it, and it really does help me out. Thank you so much for being here. And okay, now for real, I'm going to get started. The first way I'm going to show you is using a program called ACPatterns.com. Now you can use this program in two ways. You can, one, use it to create a pattern, and it will create a pattern for you. If you have a picture that you would like to turn into a pattern, then you can use this tool to make yourself an actual custom design. So it will do that. I'd like to turn it to New Horizons. If you want to make your own custom design, then you need to leave it on New Leaf. But personally, for my own purposes, I like to use New Horizon because I am making a color palette, not a custom design. And then you want to choose import, convert from image. We're going to upload an image from our computer, and I'm going to use this picture that I drew of Katie Twinkle. I just think it's cute and it's there, so we're going to use this image. So I'm going to select whatever portion of it I want. If you are making like a brick code or something like that, you can pick the kind of brick code. Like say you see this color of brick and it's beautiful and it's on Lowe's.com or something like that, and you would like to make your Animal Crossing brick pattern look just like that, you can either take a picture of it and upload that image here, or you can take a screenshot of it on whatever website it is, or if it's a Google search, you can always save as image, and then you can upload that image here. Select the portion that you would like to turn into a color palette, just the portion of the photo that you want to use. So I'm going to use this portion of the photo. I don't really want the really bright sparkle in it, so we're gonna just use this portion, right? And then you click next, and that's what you get. You get this. It's not going to be anything like what you chose because pixel art is hard, and then you just convert it, and that's fine. So when you convert it like this, then up here in your color palette, like little menu here, it will give you the colors that were on the screen or in the picture. So this is your starting point for the color palette, right? This is the starting colors that you will be using in order to make Katie Twinkle. Katie Twinkle's information is going to be linked down in the description below because I'm using her in this tutorial as just a prop, but she's an amazing person, and if you'd like to visit her content, I highly recommend it. She's a beautiful human. Anyways, here we go. So we're going to copy these values, right? You're going to write these down. The hue is 18, the vividness is 13, and the brightness is 8. Write down all of these values. Sometimes if there's not a color change, it'll give you the same color more than once, right? 18, 13, and 8, and it gave it to you again. But we're going to, obviously we're not going to put the same color twice. It's because it has to have 15 values. So it's going to give you the 15 colors no matter what, but obviously ignore duplicates. And then this one is 18, 14, 9. And then we go 5, 5, and 8. So I'm going to write these down and I will meet you back on my Animal Crossing screen where I will show you what to do with them. Okay, so we're back. We're in the ACNH custom design app, and we're going to plug all of those color palette values that we got off of acpatterns.com into this app right here. I'm going to show you how to do it really quick. So if you push X, you have to have your custom design pro upgrade at the very least from the kiosk and resident services. The very least one you have to have is the design pro app. So if you go up right next to change palette, you will have an option to change color. So when you change the color, you have these values: hue, vividness, brightness. These were the values that we wrote down. The very first one was 18, 13, 8. So we are going to count from the left 18. The first one counts as 1, and we are going to stop on value number 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. The next value down that we have is 13. Now, the vividness and the brightness, it's a lot easier because there are 15 spaces. And so it makes it a little bit easier because we know that if this way back here is number 15, then we can count down 14, 13. So if it ever shows up that far in, or if your like little needle is already on that side, then you can just count down 2 spaces, but that would be 13 spaces from the left. The next space that we have is, so the next value that we have is 8. That is the brightness. So I'm going to take my needle all the way down and I'm going to count 8. The one I'm on is on number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is the first value right there. That blue is the very first value. So we're going to go to the second color, which you'd use by pressing your right bumper. And then we're going to count 18 again from the very end. And then we're going to continue on. So the hue is 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It is this beautiful blue right here. The next color that we have is 14. And since we know this is 15 spaces, we can just go one from the right instead of counting 14 all the way from the left. And the brightness we have here is 9. If you feel comfortable counting from 15 down, you can do it that way, or you can reset all the way to 1 and count to 9. I'm going to go down from 15. So this is 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. That is our second color. The third color is 558. So I'm going to go ahead and just plug those values in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Way down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then here's a little trick I use. If you line up from just the 2, vividness and brightness, and you know that that's on 5, you can just count from 5 here. 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to go plug in all of the rest of these numbers, and I will meet you back when I am finished. And there we have it. These are all of the values that were on the acpatterns.com. There was one repeating value, so you do have one option for adding a new color in or anything like that, but those are how you change the colors, actually physically change the colors. You can make this color anything you want. It can be absolutely anything, and that would be great. For the sake of just finishing this out or making something fun, I'm going to go ahead and just do something up really quick, and I'll get back to you as soon as I finish. Okay, so that was my really quick pixel art interpretation of Katie Twinkle, but also how to make a color palette. So the next color palette that I'm going to show you is going to be based on just your own imagination. So say you would like to make a brick pattern, like you're gonna make a dirt pattern, right? And here's the thing, you have to kind of play with this just a little bit. So if you go over here and you see the values for the brown that they have, but you see that it's not that great, you don't really love it, you can adjust the hue just a little bit and start experimenting with the color. So write down a pixel, just put it down in any which way, and then just look at it. And if that is the color that you want, then you start making variations off of that color. If it is not a color you want, say you want something a little more yellowy, then go towards the yellows. If you want something a little more red clay dirt, go towards the reds. The saturation I always find to be the biggest issue. I like to pick a middle of the line saturation for dirt paths, no matter what color I'm doing. So I go with something midline, and I start like maybe at a 5 as far as colors go for the actual brightness. I go with 5 from the right, not from the left. Sorry. So I go with like a number 10 for colors as far as the brightness. Sometimes I will pull like a 7 or an 8, and I will go with like a desaturated type color. I find that the desaturation works a lot in dirt in this game. When you do that and you find a color you like, then you go to the beginning and you start with that color. Start with your base color, wherever it is, whatever you decided that you liked, and then put it down in some way, shape, or form, and then go to the next color and make sure you're paying attention to your bases. You used a 3, so that is good. And then here you used a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you want to go make sure that this is also at a 7. That is a 6. This is a 7. And then you want to go one shade lighter or one shade darker. It depends on if you want that base right there to be the lightest color or the darkest color. If you want it to be midline, then I would actually suggest moving it over one space. That is kind of what I would do. So I would take this color and then I would move it over here, and we're just gonna leave it right here, right? In order to get colors, and I hate to tell people this, in order to get colors that you see other people doing or you see in other codes, you're actually going to have to lay those other codes or look at those other pictures and trial and error and experiment to match it. It's not going to work out the first time. It really isn't. So when you have that first color, then you go back and you make that one shade lighter, and then you go to the next color and you do the same color and you make it one shade darker. So just make sure that those values match, and then you're going to go here and they're the same right now, so we want it one shade darker. And this is how we get a base. We end up like doing this whole thing, and then we take our line tool and we take the lighter color and we add some highlights, right? And I don't use the single pixel tool for highlights and shadows. And I'll tell you why. Because I find that when I use that, it ends up looking like a gravel road, which is not the effect I want. I want dirt, which has hills and valleys and textures that don't come from just doing every other single pixel like this. Anyways, that's going to be on a whole other tutorial. I will get into that on my next dirt path video. So make sure you stick around for that. And I will get into my reasonings for how I do the different types of textures and what my thought process is. And so here we go. We just kind of do our little textures, right? And this is how we come up with our bases. So that is the two ways that I come up with a color palette. One, unfortunately, is the hard way. I play with the color palette until I find a color that I like. And sometimes you just need to play with it and it'll get easier for you. You'll start to see where the values are and how to plug them in. In the meantime, I highly suggest just finding a base color, any color you like, and putting it in the ACNH tools, the acpatterns.com tool, and figuring out what those values are. And then after you do that a few times, you'll get a better sense of what values look like. You know what I mean? You'll get a better sense of where they are on the line tool thing. I would call it a color wheel. It's not a color wheel, but like you'll get more of a sense of where they are if you put the color that you would like to find in acpatterns.com and let it tell you what the color is and how to get it. Then you'll be able to play with that color and move it around and adjust it to your needs and find like darker and lighter ways of making the colors. So hopefully you found this video helpful to you. I really did consider all of the ways that I would learn how to make these and tried to come up with the simplest ways to show you. Hopefully this helped. I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. I know you guys could be doing absolutely anything and you chose to spend your time here with me. I appreciate you so much for that, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.